Morning you guys, it's Karen and today I am here to talk about the Timeless Vitamin C, and I'm going to compare this with the vitamin C from The Ordinary, and I'll also be mentioning the Hylamide hyaluronic acid then. No, the Hylamide C25 which is an ethylated vitamin C. So vitamin C has many claims, and I could probably do a whole video on the research around vitamin C and what I think of it and why it's not an essential to my routine, but why I like having it in my routine, that kind of thing. But the claims are that it brightens your skin and that it works on pigmentation, that it helps your sun protection factor work better, and that can help to avoid further sun damage and free radical damage, that kind of thing. So there's quite a few claims. There are, of course, all different types of vitamin C, and ascorbic acid or L-ascorbic acid is the gold standard, if you like, because it is the pure vitamin C. It doesn't need to be converted in your skin, but there are issues with it in terms of it needs to be exactly the right pH, it needs to be the right formula so that it can penetrate through your skin, and it can be irritating and it can go off very quickly. The only ascorbic acids I've used are from The Ordinary, so I've used their 100% L-ascorbic acid powder and mixed that with a few things. I have done a video on that, and I also used their vitamin C 23%. It used to come in a dropper bottle and it's now in a tube. And those products did irritate my skin. So I, since then, have really just used derivatives, which are not quite as potent, obviously, as the pure vitamin C. Well, that point might be argued. We didn't have Timeless in the UK for a long time, but I did eventually order the vitamin C, but not in this. This is the new packaging. So this is plastic with a pump bottle, but it used to come in a dropper bottle. So I did order the one in the dropper bottle. I tested the pH of it, and the pH was way too high, and it was a kind of yellowy colour. So to me, it had already gone off in transit. This one, however, I received and tested the pH. It's absolutely fine, and it, you know, looks the perfect colour. I don't think there's even, I was going to say there's a tiny bit left. Didn't think there was any left, because pretty much used this up. If you shake it, you can't hear anything in it. And I've been using this for a good couple of months now. So that's a nice clear liquid. Everything was fine. I used it on my skin for 2 or 3 nights in a row and found exactly as you said. It didn't irritate at all. It feels really nice. It's very watery, as you can see there when you put a little bit on. Let's see if I can get something else out of it. Oh, just a little bit. That it runs down your hand. But it rubs in more than a lot of watery serums do, if that makes sense. You know, it just feels ever so slightly, I want to say oily, but it's not oily at all. It just feels like it's got a little bit more substance than some of the watery serums you get in skincare. So this was £26. I paid £22.50 for this plus £3.50 postage from the Timeless website. This is a 20% vitamin C, and it also has E, ferulic acid and panthenol in it. The claims for this are that it works on sunspots, collagen, helping to synthesize collagen, helps protect from UV, and it's brightening. I've told you there's no irritation, etc. If you want a much more in-depth review of this, by the way, Angie from Hot and Flashy has done a brilliant video. She's done 2, in fact, on this one, I believe. I watched the one where she was comparing 3 vitamin Cs in ascorbic acid form, which this is. And when she used this one, she said that she saw a brightening of an age spot. I mean, some of you tell me that I'm detailed, but when you see Angie, she's just, you don't walk away with any questions. You know, she covers everything. And she did a before and after on a sunspot, before and after photo, and felt that this had improved it. Now, the only thing I would say is that she did say that she'd had some IPL type treatment on her face. But she didn't start this until she stopped the IPL treatment. But IPL treatments you can see the improvements weeks after having the treatment. So that's the only thing I would wonder, was it definitely from the vitamin C or that? But it may well be. I will link Angie's video for you because, like I said, it's really, really interesting. So I've used this for a couple of months, but I don't think that's enough to see any real benefits. I feel like I'd need to use it for maybe 3 to 6 months. I have been using it a couple of times a day on occasions, which is why it hasn't lasted me the 3 months that it generally lasts. I did get a comment from somebody saying that if you put this in the fridge, it's much better. And actually Angie did say that she put hers in the fridge, and I think she's had quite a few of these, and it lasted longer than the 3 months So that was interesting. So I'm not really talking about the results here from this, because I'd have to really, I feel, use this for 6 months alone and then use this for 6 months alone, not use any other actives, that kind of thing. But as far as my pores go, they haven't changed. And I have used ethylated ascorbic acid in the past from Hylamide. Just before getting this, that's what I was using. I have used the vitamin C 30% in silicone from The Ordinary, and I felt like it shrunk my pores, and certainly my pores have not got larger again. So let's talk about the other one, the one from The Ordinary. This is, no, it's not £18. This is £4.90, and this is 23%, but this doesn't have any of the other ingredients in it, such as the ferulic acid and the vitamin E. Those are thought to enhance the efficacy of ascorbic acid. So this is just a straight vitamin C. This one is 23%. So this is 20%, this is 23%. But I'm sure everybody can remember when this came out and everybody was ordering it from The Ordinary, that a lot of people found it very irritating. This is what it looks like. It is a gritty feeling formula, and they do tell you that on the site, and they also tell you that you may have some irritation from it. It looks, as you can see, a little bit oily. Like I said, it feels ever so slightly gritty. It does absorb, and there's no issues with that at all. But I was one of those that had really bad irritation from it. Not the type of irritation that I could wait for it to pass. I needed to get it off my face. It felt like my face was burning. So since then I haven't used it, but I wanted to give it another try, because The Ordinary are cruelty free. This is a great product with ascorbic acid in it. They're much more affordable, you know, so I thought I would give it a go. I put it on and instantly I could feel the same reaction as I had before. It was irritating my face, and so I took it off. But I have tried it another way, and it is working for me that way, and it does hold its pH, you know, it doesn't mess up the pH too much. And I think some of you already know about this, but I've been mixing it with hyaluronic acid. I should say actually that I used this for a couple of months, but I haven't used it for a couple of weeks. I've been trying out the Ordinary one. So what I do is I just put a pump of this. I can't remember if I did 1 or 2 pumps. I think it was kind of 2 small pumps, and then a little drop of this. So about that much. And then I mixed it, and I did, like I said, test the pH. That's what it looks like when mixed. It just is like a bit of a thicker hyaluronic acid. I put that on and had no irritation at all. It's really, really nice. The only thing is it did then ball up on my skin a little bit if I used it under any oils. And I do like to now and then put an oil on my skin in the evening if it's feeling super dry or super, dry, that's it. I was going to say dehydrated, but I'd be using this for the dehydration and the oil for the dryness. But what I've ended up doing is, if I was wanting to use an oil, I would just miss this out and use something else, use some other kind of active underneath it. I tend to sort of switch up my skincare depending on how my skin is feeling, and then depending on how the things that I'm using work together. You know, I don't have a specific one that I use every single night. I just have a bunch of products in a bag, and I decide what's best for my skin on that day, other than when I'm testing, and I try and be a bit more consistent. So I was trying to use this every day. The last 2 weeks I've tried to use this for most days, except, like I said, when I needed to use an oil because my skin felt dry. The same with this as with the Timeless. I didn't feel any major effects from it, you know. I didn't notice any difference from my freckles. I didn't take any before and after pictures or anything like that. But it did feel lovely. And I'm really happy that I can get to use this now by mixing it with hyaluronic acid. I just need to make sure I don't do it when I want to use an oil. Yeah, I wanted to briefly mention the Hylamide ethylated ascorbic acid, because this is my favourite to use. And the reason it's my favourite is because it is a little bit warming, only ever so slightly, but more because it has an oily feel, but it doesn't leave your skin oily. I think it feels so lovely, and your skin just feels very baby-like and plump when I use this, that I really enjoy it. And the ethylated ascorbic acid is a little bit better than derivatives, as in, let's just say there's less of a conversion needed. It's not pure ascorbic acid, but it's very close to it. So I really enjoy this one. This one is £18. Is it? No, that's the Ordinary one. This is £25. Sorry about this. It's £25, and it's a 25% ethyl ascorbic acid. So this one is a little bit less expensive than the Timeless Vitamin C. I'm actually now quite keen to try mixing vitamin C. So I might use this one after using the ascorbic acid and hyaluronic acid from, well, the vitamin C from The Ordinary. Is this like a ritual that every video I need to drop something? And use this afterwards. And I say that because remember I talked about the study, or the studies that I had looked at when I was researching the, can't remember the name of it now, but the Garden of Wisdom one, which is a derivative. And a lot of studies are combining derivatives with ascorbic acid and getting good results. The advantage of a non-ascorbic acid is that, like with this, it's very, very stable, and you don't need to, you know, make sure you use it up quickly, keep it in the fridge, none of that. And I, like I said, just prefer the feel of this. So my preferred is this. I do really like that Garden of Wisdom one that I purchased, but it's also quite expensive. Yeah, they would be really good combos actually. So if you used the Ordinary one with the hyaluronic acid, you could follow that with, it would be difficult to use the Garden of Wisdom after this because it's in squalane, and so that may pill up. It might not do that on everybody, but it certainly did on me. But I think I could probably use this one after this, and I don't think it would pill because this hasn't done that with any other skincare that normally does with oil. And this one would be really nice to use with the Garden of Wisdom squalane one as well, because this one doesn't pill or ball up, and that's a way of using two different types of vitamin C. So I think it's just down to your budget and what you want to achieve, you know, how important vitamin C is in your routine as to which one you choose, and if you choose more than one. Because like I said, I think £26 for this is still pretty expensive, but it does have the vitamin E, it does have the ferulic acid. It is the only ascorbic acid I've used that's non-irritating. Although this one is only £4.90, you do have to, or I have to mix it with hyaluronic acid, and it does then ball up, so it's not without its issues. But if it was really important to me to have a vitamin C in my routine, which it's not for me, it's just a bonus. But if it were really important and I was trying to work on hyperpigmentation or something like that, I would use two. I would combine two, and the Timeless would probably be in there because it's just, like I said, it's easy to mix. It doesn't pill up. I would kind of vary them and use as many as I could together if they worked. So I hope that this has been helpful or interesting at least. I know that a lot of people love their vitamin C's and have seen results. So I would love to hear from you as to what results have you seen on your skin using an ascorbic acid, and what issues did you use it for, and how important is it to you? Because I never used to have one in my routine at all. It wasn't important at all, but I was going through that, trying everything from The Ordinary to review for my channel, and was surprised to see that the vitamin C 30% is silicone, which I haven't really talked about because I'm not sure how much that penetrates. But I found that it not only disguised my pores when I use it, it almost works as a primer, but the effect lasted. You know, if I didn't use it one day, my pores still appeared smaller. So that's where my kind of vitamin C journey began, you know, and I was, oh, let me try other ones. And yeah, so that's everything for today. Let me tell you what I'm wearing. I've got on, probably as always, the Laura Mercier Silk Cream Foundation in 3C. On my eyes is a Makeup Geek pigment called what? Prism, called Prism. But I don't think we can buy Makeup Geek in the UK anymore, can we? Let me know if you know any websites that do it. I tried to Google it and couldn't find anything. On my cheeks is the Hourglass blush in magenta, radiant magenta. On my lips is a lime crime lipstick in marshmallow, but then I've used a gloss on top, which is the Buxom Bellini. And I think that's everything. These earrings were from Accesorize. Can't remember where I got my little paw from. This top is from Zara. And I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. A couple of months, I'm not 100% sure that would be enough for me to continue on rambling and not really knowing what I'm talking about. Because I used it for a few days and then I kind of forgot about it all way too much. I'd probably use this combined with the one from the Garden of Wisdom that I've just reviewed. No, I wouldn't.